2 Squadron is the South African Air Force's primary fighter squadron. Formed in January 1939, it soon made an impact during the Second World War and in the Korean War. It got its nickname, the Flying Cheetahs, from Kenya, that donated 2 real cheetah cubs to the squadron. Since then, wherever 2 Squadron was located, there has always been a pair of cheetahs on the base, with the officer commanding 2 Squadron their custodian. In Korea, the P-51 Mustangs of 2 Squadron were seriously outgunned by the modern MiG-15s of the enemy. How then was it possible that 2 Squadron lost only 1 Mustang and managed to hit a total of 9,837 enemy targets?
2 Squadron is the only fighter squadron in the South African Air Force, and therefore we have this unique requirement that each member of the squadron, man and woman, must be an absolute specialist in his field. I still believe that 2 Squadron still has some of the best fighter pilots in the world, and recent feedback from the SAAF, Germans, Russians and Indians attested to this fact.
Modern technology is constantly evolving, and for a pilot there is no worse place to be than in a dogfight with an enemy who's flying a superior aircraft. In the 80s, however, South Africa could not buy any new aircraft due to the United Nations arms embargo. The only option was to literally build a new fighter using an existing platform. It was decided to upgrade the Mirage 3 fleet. The Mirage F1s were much newer, but with South Africa's involvement in the Angolan conflict at the time, withdrawing them would leave the South African Defence Force vulnerable. The Air Force, however, needed more than the Mirage F1s. For an aviation industry that had never had the need to build a fighter aircraft, it was a huge ask. The results were nothing short of miraculous. The Atlas Cheetah was born. Its upgrades included a complete refurbishment of the airframe to 0 hours. A new ejection seat was installed. Strakes on the nose improved the Cheetah's high angle of attack performance. The nose was extended to house the new radar system. An air-to-air refueling probe was added, which greatly increased the aircraft's endurance. Non-moving canards were fitted just behind the engine intakes. A new main wing spar with drooping leading edge and a dogtooth incision on each wing was added. 2 new stores pylons at the wing roots were installed. The more powerful ATAR 9K 50cc11 engine was upgraded in South Africa. The aerodynamic improvements alone increased the angle of attack, increased maximum takeoff weight by 700 kilograms, reduced the minimum airspeed to 100 knots, and increased turn rate by an impressive 15%. Although the exact content of the cockpit remains classified, we do know that it boasts a highly sophisticated avionics, radar, electronic warfare, and self-protection suite. The Cheetah's electronic warfare system includes radar warning sensors that automatically engage the aircraft's self-protection system, which consists of electronic jammers. The cockpit also integrated a HUD, sophisticated cockpit instruments, and HOTAS, or hands-on throttle and stick, which meant that the pilot could now operate all his systems without removing his hands from the flight controls. The Cheetah C single-seat fighter specifically, as opposed to the Cheetah D dual fighter, had a more sophisticated avionics and navigation suite, and a pulse Doppler multi-mode radar. These systems were regarded as being superior to the systems fitted in the F-16s at the time. All these upgrades are intriguing, but how much space does this leave for weapons systems, the Cheetah's core business? The Cheetah was now capable of delivering laser precision guided weapons. The aircraft could carry a host of air-to-air weapons, and was equipped with the R-Data, beyond visual range radar-guided missile, as well as the S-Data, a highly capable short-range infrared guided missile.
Flight package orbiting 36 miles north of Squadron. Actually, I do not have that contact on my screen.
Fully fueled, these aircraft carry 7,880 litres of fuel, enough to fill a small swimming pool, and they need it. When flying with full afterburner, the aircraft uses more than 300 litres of fuel per minute. If full afterburner was used for an hour, the fuel it burns could send a small car halfway to the moon. When maneuvering, these fighters can pull up to 7.5 Gs, making the average pilot's head weigh around the same weight as that of a full bag of cement. And that does not include the helmet. At the time, Cheetah was basically a new aircraft. But how well would it perform in action? The Cheetah was put through its paces in an air combat maneuvering exercise at Louis Trichardt. Here, the 2 Squadron Cheetah Cs went up against one of the most modern aircraft in the world, the F-15E Strike Eagles from the 49th Fighter Squadron of the US Air Force, based at RAF Lakenheath. When the scores came in, the tallies were equal. So, what does it take to make such an effective fighting combination?
We at 2 Squadron like to work together as a team. Each and every member is crucial to the success of what we do, and each member understands that his or her safety, or even life, depends on the professionalism of the person standing next to them.
The pilots of 2 Squadron are obviously a vital link in this chain of success. But what makes flying fighters different to flying any other Air Force plane?
What makes it unique to the other aircraft that we operate as far as jet aircraft are concerned, that it's got a fully multi-mode fire control radar and also an afterburning engine. We can do up to 750 knots, and the aircraft is rated to Mach 2, which is twice the speed of sound. I've got Smiley de Villiers here, call sign Slayer. He's our low-level display pilot, and he often takes our jet to its limits. Any show, what is the max G that you find yourself putting at times?
Well, clean configuration, the aircraft is limited to 7.5 G, so a lot of the turns, especially when the show is at sea level, is done at 7.5 G. The initial maneuvering of the aircraft, and then with the belly tank on, as the configuration is here where we're standing, it's about 6.7 G.
We like to demonstrate the Cheetah with the 2 versus 1 dogfight show, which is also quite popular amongst the crowds. And what's nice there is that you get to see the relative speed between the 2 different aircraft. So you don't have the 1 aircraft flying at a time, you now get the 3 in the sky. And also helps us to put a lot more of the show in front of the crowd all the time. And as you can see, the crossing speeds are normally quite high, with aircraft doing over 500 knots each. So you get a closing speed of over 1,000 knots, which can be quite impressive from the cockpit of one of the fighters.
At Air Force Base Mikado, located in the shade of the Soutpansberg Mountains, 2 Squadron is ready to protect our nation. 2 Squadron execute various missions including air-to-air intercept, ground strike, close air support, and standoff jamming. But what actually happens from the time the squadron is tasked to when the aircraft are involved in a real combat mission? South Africa's radar capability keeps us in the know of pending threats. Should such a threat be identified, it is decided what state of readiness to employ. These range from a few minutes standby, where our pilots are at the squadron and ready for action, to cockpit standby, where the pilot is physically strapped into the aircraft, allowing for an almost immediate takeoff, to combat air patrol, where the aircraft are in the air. 2 Squadron has a proud history. In Korea, besides receiving a presidential citation from the President of Korea, the officer commanding of the 18th Fighter Bomber Wing of the US Air Force instituted the following directive. In memory of our gallant South African comrades, it is hereby established as a new policy that at all retreat ceremonies held by this wing, the playing of our national anthem shall be preceded by playing the introductory bars of the South African national anthem. All personnel of this wing will render the same honors to this anthem as to ours. High praises indeed. But South Africa is at peace, and although regular training exercises are held, our pilots can only practice their skills against each other. How then can we be sure that two squadrons' skills are adequate should war break out? Part of the answer reveals itself by just spending a few days at the squadron. If that's not convincing, exercises such as Golden Eagle and Good Hope are ongoing, with the US Air Force and German Luftwaffe amongst others. During these exercises, our pilots go up against the best the rest of the world has to offer, and always make us proud.
Cheetahs.
Cheetahs, red light, loud and clear on me.
Strength 5, we airborne left hand out, reading for the cap.
Cheetahs, red light, your airspace is FAR 147, ground up to flight level 460, you are clear to operate.
Clear to operate, Cheetahs.
Cheetah, red light, confirm ready.
Are we ready?
Watch, opponents ready. Fight on.
Puma 1.
Cheetah, red light, fights on, fights on. Cheetah 1, commit, Bra, 250, 63, 25,000, leader, South Group, hostile.
Cheetah 1 committing, 250. 2 bandits, 12 o'clock, 19 miles and 15 miles. Pumping.
Cheetah 2, heads up, South Group.
Cheetah 2, 260, recommitting. Cheetah 2, contact 16 miles, 264. Cheetah 2, locked, 13.
Puma 2, you can take the lead. Get it bent.
Still not convinced? Perhaps a look at the article published in a Russian aviation magazine by the Vice Chairman of the Russian Service Air Center will change your mind. According to a unanimous estimation of our military pilots, as well as the industry test pilots taking part in the exercises, the aviators from South Africa, in comparison with other countries, seemed more professionally trained. They can perform practically all the maneuvers of close and medium-range air combat, and they know how to perform anti-radar and anti-missile maneuvers. In air, they feel like fish in water. I estimate that the Republic of South Africa pilots have surpassed the Americans in many respects. It nevertheless surprised us all that the South Africans have completely mastered all modern tactical measures for long-range as well as close air combat. There is no doubt that the skills and competencies of 2 Squadron are of the best in the world. The only constant is change, and the time has come to bid farewell to an aircraft that has served our nation with pride and distinction.